Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, January 11th, 2017 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I expand through the courage of my light. And your light is going to have to be courageous in this energy. You are going to have to be courageous in this energy. We're building into a grand cardinal cross with this full moon that we're building into. And today is going to be the day that we're really going to be feeling that. However, I want to say today I feel like is really blessed. So a lot of people like numbers and everything. Today is 1, 11, 1. If you add up 2017, that is a 1. So it's 1111. This is a initiation. This is a portal. This is a threshold. This is a gateway into the expansion of your light. And all you need to do in this energy is fall into your center and be courageous and be true to yourself as we move through this energy. So let's dive into this astro that's leading up to this full moon, which is happening, by the way, Thursday morning at like 3:34 a.m. Is that the time? Yes, 3:34 a.m. is what time this cardinal cross, this peak happens. But we're, like I said, we're going to be feeling this today, that building. It's always like when you're walking up the mountain that you're like, ooh, it's not when you get to the peak. Then you're like, oh, I see. This is why I've gone through this. However, right now, we're in the process of the walking up. However, the astro is supporting this beautifully, as the universe always does. The sun begins the day connecting to Chiron, 21 degrees, that degree of expansion. I'm also feeling there's an energy of enlightenment with this connection. The sun in Capricorn, Chiron in Pisces. To me, through this expansion, it almost feels like I'm getting a picture of like the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. It's a feeling of that. It's a feeling of this light expansion within yourself and releasing the past. I'm almost feeling there's a strong level of forgiveness of the past and the forgiveness of being that it's like my personal favorite definition of forgiveness, which somebody taught me this year, which has been so great, is like releasing the hope that it could have been different and coming into true acceptance of what is. So it's like, this is what it is, and this is okay. This is blessed. Now how do I work with what is? That's what this expansion, this energy really feels like. And it does. It feels like enlightenment in the manner of, whew, whoa, that's a big thing off my back. Thank you. Thank you for lightening my load kind of energy. The moon is then going to travel and meet up with Venus, which, should I just mention, Venus is preparing to connect with Neptune tomorrow. So, strong emotional current, strong intuition energy, but also that ability to get like swept up in the moment. I think there's a difference between being in the flow and being really present with what's going on and being swept up in the moment. So really be present with yourself. This is happening at 8 degrees, so that degree is like showing up, being responsible. So don't get swept away by the tides, by the winds, by the rain, by the snow, depending on where you are, by the landslides. Don't get swept away, but be present in your self-love and in your intuition and in that light energy. The moon's also going to connect to Neptune. It, progresses, moves a little bit onward. So that's going to also be feeding into this energy, feeding into your intuition. Your intuition can really guide you in and to your light. But again, if you're not being present for yourself, if you're not knowing the worth of your light, if you're feeding outside of yourself, there's that energy of getting swept away. Don't get swept away. Stay in your center. Know your role. I think that's a wrestling phrase from forever ago, but that's what popped into my head. Know your role. The moon's then going to oppose Pluto, and so that's going to be where we're going to really start feeling these feelings of this T-square cardinal cross coming and tightening into this energy. Now again, this connection is at 17 degrees. That is that 8 energy. So how are you showing up? How are you showing up in this transformation? I got the Thunderbolt and the Destroyer right here. So this is a transformation. But remember, this is a threshold. This is a portal. This is a calling into enlightenment through releasing that which no longer serves you, which a lot of times are the stories, because you're telling these stories about these things, and it's your story. It's not necessarily what's actually happening. It's not actually what's unfolding. The universe is like, no, I've got something really great for you, but you're lost in this other old story. So how can you show up in the light in this moment and let go of that energy? Ooh, yeah, this card, the visionary. How can you show up as a visionary of your light? We'll get into those cards more later, but I saw that. I was like, yeah, the visionary, the courage of your light. It's all over the place. Okay, so the moon is also going to connect to Mars at 17 degrees. So again, here we have that 8 energy of how are you showing up? How are you showing up for your desire? How are you taking action in your desire in this energy? This is a trine. So again, this is your intuition, your gut that can help move you and guide you in and through this energy. But you've got to tune in here. The answers for you are not out here. The answers for you with how you're meant to move, even if how you're meant to move by staying in place, the answers are within. They are contained in your light, and it's within your wheelhouse, your courageous wheelhouse to follow this energy. So, as we end up the day, we have the Sun squaring Jupiter. And this is really where we're going to be feeling it. That Sun square Jupiter is at 22 degrees. That's that master degree. That is the master Uranus degree, which is evolution, revolution, letting go of that which doesn't serve you. This degree, this master degree. What I find is out of the Uranus degrees, the 22 is the one least likely to trigger us. However, it's also the one that makes us show up the most. It's like, hey, have you gotten these other lessons? So think back of these times that you found yourself triggered through Capricorn energy. What has it been that has triggered you, and how have you shifted? This is how you're going to work with this energy, because you've learned these lessons through these other Uranus days that we've hit. You've learned these lessons of where you needed to evolve, where you needed to change. Now, this is an interesting one, this square, the Sun square Jupiter, 22 degrees. What came up is who is watering your garden? So, Sun in Capricorn is our structure, is how we're showing up in the world. Jupiter, working through Libra, is tuning us into self-love. But Jupiter and Libra can also tune us into relationships. And a lot of times, we put a lot of our nurturing of our garden, the nurturing of ourself, on others. So this is the question to ask yourself in this energy. Who is watering your garden? And if you're feeling triggered, you may be triggered because the person you want to be watering your garden isn't watering your garden. I say that's great. They need to be watering their own garden, and you need to be watering your garden in this energy. You need to be caring for yourself. We had that Sun-Uranus connection at 20 degrees, and Uranus is holding that 20-degree energy, making the 20 in the air with my hands. Love that. The Uranus energy is still holding that 20-degree energy, being like, hey, to really step into who you are, to step into the courage of your light, you need to be nurturing yourself. You need to be watering your garden. Now, Sabian symbols. We're going to get into these for the full moon, because the full moon's happening tomorrow, Thursday, 3:34 a.m. So we're going to be feeling this building through today. Of course, I'll have another horoscope, but, whatever. So, I love this. I love these symbols. Cancer, 22 degrees. A young woman awaiting a sailboat. That's the first one. Capricorn, where the sun is, at 22 degrees. By accepting defeat gracefully, a general reveals nobility of character. And finally, because Jupiter is playing such a prominent role in this, at 22 degrees as well, T-squaring this energy exactly, Libra, 22 degrees. A child giving birds a drink at a fountain. Now this to me, oh my God, this to me is this flow. This to me is all the courage of the light. This to me is being in this moment with this energy. The person who's waiting a sailboat, in the book they talk about a person who's trying to sail away from everything. And there can be escapism. There's all this Pisces energy. Escapism is a real thing. However, I really felt this person is moving on into their destiny. They're following the flow. They're taking the courage. They're having the courage to follow their heart, to move in that direction. That general, he's not fighting. He's not fighting what is. He's allowing this destruction. And this reminds me of what I was saying in GPS. This is not your demise. This is your blank. You have to fill in the word. I think that's why I can't get the word, because it's your word to fill in. This is not your demise. What is this? It's not this. What is this light? What is this courage for you? This is not your demise. So that generals accepting defeat. Now the third one, the Sabian symbol for Libra 22, is funny to me because the child's giving a bird's drink from a fountain. I'm like, no, the child's not holding a fountain and giving the birds a drink. The child is watching these birds drink from the fountain. They're watering their garden. This child is learning that art of self-love. This child is learning that is how you are a master. That is how you come into your light, by giving yourself a drink of water, whatever that water is for you. So that child is taking in this lesson of following the flow. So this is this energy that we're working into. However, let's be real. Fighting, thunderbolt, I've got guilt. I find over and over we feel guilty for tending to our own gardens and not taking care of everybody else's garden. What if that was your way? And you were like, no, before I tend to my own garden, I have to take care of everybody else's garden on the street. You wouldn't have the vegetables that you want to eat in the summer. You got to tend to your own garden. Then you can help out your neighbors if you have that extra energy. Or you can help out your neighbors by giving them cucumbers. Tend to your garden. Don't let this guilt overwhelm you. Only you can know what your heart flow, what that light flow is for you. So, get out of the guilt. If it needs to fall apart in this energy, let it fall apart. This is meant to lighten your load. And stop fighting this flow. So, visionary and destroyer. Both are helpful in this energy. The destroyer, the light attribute, releasing what's potentially destructive and preparing for a new life. How powerful is that? Shadow attributes, intoxication with destructive power, destroying others' dreams or potential. Again, it's not up for you to destroy somebody else's garden, but if you have to till your own soil, then you have to till your own soil. Be aware of what's going on for you. Fall into your light. The visionary, light attributes, capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard or personal gain. And the shadow attributes, selling insights at the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. So don't fall into that energy. And again, hold your vision for your life. Take that aim. We also have Mercury finishing up in Sagittarius. It's shifting tomorrow. This is the last full day, but it's 29 degrees. Honoring that aim. And finally, the 9 of crystals. I'll post this on my Instagram because this is getting long and I don't want this to turn off on me. But 9 of crystals, which is basically saying, hey, the divine potential of the future is near. This mama gnome is reading a story to her child. You are the storyteller of your life, and your story is as conscious as the one who tells it. What is your theme? And as you move into this period of completion, trust in the goodness of what is yet to manifest in your life, being that visionary. A magical gift, a special friendship, a new opportunity is on its way. Good things are on the way. We got to let go to move in and fall in deeper into this life. So, that's it. Last few days of my sale. Check that out, GaiaBlooming.com. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Or, yeah, that's the email address. Thank you for staying with me. I know this is long, but wow, there's so much info in this. I love you. Namaste.